Last night, the President of the United States acted for his country, and that is his mandate. Today, I will act in Britain's interests with mine.
April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day America's destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again. We're going to make it wealthy, good and wealthy. For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen. We have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered gravely. They watched in anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our factories, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, and for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. So if you look at that, China, first row, China, 67%. That's tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring, it's very windy out here. So it's 67%, so we're going to be charging a discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything, but now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You know, you think of European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. 39%, we're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half.
President Trump's announcement of universal tariffs on the whole world, including the European Union, is a major blow to the world economy. I deeply regret this choice. Let's be clear-eyed about the immense consequences. The global economy will massively suffer. Uncertainty will spiral and trigger the rise of further protectionism. The consequences will be dire for millions of people around the globe, also for the most vulnerable countries, which are now subject to some of the highest US tariffs. The opposite of what we wanted to achieve. The tariffs will also hurt consumers around the world. It will be felt immediately. Millions of citizens will face higher grocery bills. Medication will cost more, as well as transportation. Inflation will go up. And this is hurting in particular the most vulnerable citizens. All businesses, big and small, will suffer from day one. From greater uncertainty, to the disruption of supply chains, to burdensome bureaucracy, the costs of doing business with the United States will drastically increase. And what is more, there seems to be no order in the disorder, no clear path through the complexity and chaos that is being created as all US trading partners are hit. We are prepared to respond. We are already finalizing the first package of countermeasures in response to tariffs on steel. And we're now preparing for further countermeasures to protect our interests and our businesses if negotiations fail. We will also be watching closely what indirect effects these tariffs could have, because we cannot absorb global overcapacity, nor will we accept dumping on our markets. As Europeans, we will always promote and defend our interests and our values, and we will always stand up for Europe. I know that many of you feel let down by our oldest ally. Yes, we must brace for the impact that this will inevitably have. Europe has everything it needs to make it through the storm. We are in this together. If you take on one of us, you take on all of us. So we will stand together and stand up for each other. Our unity is our strength. Europe stands together for our business, for our citizens, and for all Europeans. And we will continue to build bridges with all those that, like us, care about fair and rules-based trade as a basis for shared prosperity.
Je vais prononcer quelques mots. So, President Trump has just announced a series of measures that are going to fundamentally change the international trading system. Now, in doing so, he has preserved a number of important elements of our relationship, the commercial relationship between Canada and the United States. But the fentanyl tariffs still remain in place, as do the tariffs for steel and aluminum. As of this evening, the tariffs on automobiles will enter into force, and the U.S. has signaled that there will be additional tariffs in so-called strategic sectors, pharmaceuticals, lumber, and semiconductors. So we're in a situation where there is going to be an impact on the U.S. economy, which will build with time. In our judgment, it will be negative on the U.S. economy. That will have an impact on us. But the series of measures will directly affect millions of Canadians. We are going to fight these tariffs with countermeasures. We are going to protect our workers, and we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7. In a crisis, it's important to come together, and it's essential to act with purpose and with force, and that's what we will do.
Japan, 46%. They would charge us 46% and much higher for certain items like cars, little items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%.
はい、我が国からこれまでさまざまなレベルで我が国の懸念を説明するとともに一方的な関税措置を取るべきでない旨、などを申し入れてきたにもかかわらず米国政府が今般の相互関税措置を発表したことは極めて遺憾であります。今般の発表を受け、改めて米国政府に対し今般の措置が極めて遺憾であるのに伝えるとともに措置の見直しを強く申し入れたところでございます。
中方多次强调，贸易战、关税战没有赢家，保护主义没有出路。中方敦促美方纠正错误做法，以平等、尊重、互惠的方式，同包括中国在内的世界各国磋商解决贸易分歧。
That's a 10. That's a good one. Yeah. I'm going to hand out these ones.
Well, thank you for joining me in Downing Street today. Last night, the President of the United States acted for his country, and that is his mandate. Today, I will act in Britain's interests with mine. I understand how important this is for your businesses, as it is for the British people. So we move now to the next stage of our plan. Decisions we take in coming days and weeks will be guided only by our national interest, in the interests of our economy, in the interests of businesses around this table, in the interests of putting money in the pockets of working people. Nothing else will guide me. That is my focus. Now, clearly there will be an economic impact from the decisions that the US has taken, both here and globally. But I want to be crystal clear. We are prepared. Indeed, one of the great strengths of this nation is our ability to keep a cool head. I said that in my first speech as Prime Minister, and that is how I govern. That is how we have planned, and that is exactly what is required today. Nobody wins in a trade war. That is not in our national interest. We have a fair and balanced trade relationship with the US, negotiations on an economic prosperity deal, one that strengthens our existing trading relationship. They continue, and we will fight for the best deal for Britain. I will only strike a deal if it is in our national interest, and if it is the right thing to do for the security of working people, protects the pound in their pocket that they work so hard to earn for their family. That is my priority. That is always my priority. So today marks a new stage in our preparations. We have a range of levers at our disposal, and we will continue our work with businesses across the country to discuss their assessment of the options. As I say, our intention remains to secure a deal, but nothing is off the table. We have to understand that just as with defence and security, so too for the economy and trade. We are living in a changing world, entering a new era. We must rise to this challenge, and that is why I've instructed my team to move further and faster on the changes I believe will make our economy stronger and more resilient. Because this government will do everything necessary to defend the UK's national interest, everything necessary to provide the foundation of security that working people need to get on with their lives. That is how we have acted and how we will continue to act, with pragmatism, cool and calm heads focused on our national security.
I think you're going to remember today it's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free and beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day in America, and it's going to be a day that hopefully you're going to look back in years to come and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be one of the most important days in the history of our country.